So getting the aircraft has been a nearly 4-year project, not helped, of course, by the fact that we had a pandemic in the middle of it, which caused a big pause. But it's been a huge project of collaboration between the RAF in the UK, the RAF in Australia, and RAF in Western Australia. So we wrote a letter to the RAF in the UK, just applying to be considered for allocation of a Tornado GR4 when we heard that they were being retired. And little did we know that on the other end of that letter was Wing Commander Erica Ferguson.
I got that letter. It was one of 63 requests I had from museums for a Tornado aircraft, and my initial reaction was, no way can I get a Tornado out to Australia. But the more I thought about it and the more I learned about this fantastic museum that we're sitting in today, the more I became convinced it was the right thing to do. The right thing to do because it was the continuation of a fantastic story of cooperation between Australia and Great Britain through the RAAF and the RAF that you were telling already. I so love the stories you tell here of the Australians who flew on the Dams raid and 617 Squadron, of course the Tornado Squadron. So the more I thought about it, the more appropriate it seemed that we brought a Tornado out here.
So it's very exciting because there's such a large Tornado community also in Australia that we're discovering more and more. It just keeps on expanding of all these people who either have a passion for Tornadoes or flew them or were technicians and are either still serving or they're retired in Australia. So it's very relevant, and particularly given that we're sitting here under the Lancaster in front of the Spitfire.
And I think that community is going to be such an asset. Delivering and building the aircraft for me is the first stage of this project. It's been a long first stage, but it's the first stage. The next stage is your lead on telling those stories with our help and with the help of this Tornado community across Australia.
Absolutely. And then of course there was that magic link of the RAAF, the Australian Air Force, having its centenary year in 2021, and the relationship to the Imperial gift, which was originally in 1921, of the 100 aircraft to establish the fleet of aircraft for the RAAF from the RAF. So there was that lovely linkage in there as well in the whole story.
I only wish we could have flown our Tornado into Pierce like the Imperial gift was flown into Australia.
That would have
Sadly, she was already grounded.
And we were locked down by COVID as well, weren't we?
Yeah, and what a trip it was to get her over here on a boat.
Well,
wow.
And that's a cast of thousands really, with lots of passion from Erica and a lot of work from the Australian Air Force. But it's just been an amazing journey to get our aircraft, Zulu Golf 791, to Australia, which has its own particular very interesting history, including a bird strike and a distinguished history of service. So, and we have it now, just amazing.
Of course, we wouldn't have managed that without our team from the Joint Aircraft. Got the words, let me start that one again.
Don't forget that.
The Joint Aircraft Recovery and Transport Squadron, who are, as we're sitting here talking, are busy starting to build that aircraft. We certainly wouldn't have had her in a position to get onto the boat, delivered to the boat, and built without them.
So that's just magic. We're just so privileged to have a team of 7 here from the UK staying with us, and they're out there as we're recording this, putting this amazing aircraft together. So it's taking shape.
Yeah, and they have their own Tornado experience. Some of them have looked after Zulu Golf 791 when she was out operating from Akrotiri on Shader, the operations against Daesh in Syria. So this is them continuing their story with that particular Tornado and Tornadoes in the round.
And we had a man this morning come and visit us to say that he actually worked on Zulu Golf 791 when she was down with a bird strike. He was in the RAF and he worked on it. So these stories just keep on popping up.
And that's what museums are about. They're about stories that people love and learn from.
Yeah.